take the morning to work outside.
Looks good. Looks like you got some better weather than we do. It's like 100 already here.
Woo. Yeah, I think we're sitting in the upper 80s, which is not bad.
No, not bad at all. All right. Well, we got people on live, ready to roll. People are going to keep piling in throughout. As a reminder for everybody, if you are in a location that has any background noise, please go ahead and mute yourself. We do have a chat feature that is part of our Power of 30. And Ursula has already said you got to check that out, Cody. So kudos. But anybody has any questions or anything about the conversation as we move on, feel free to go ahead and type that in the chat. We'll relay those messages in. All right, so let's get started with our Power 30 call. Our guest, Kayla Lindsey. Kayla, remind us, what market are you coming from?
Charlotte, North Carolina.
Charlotte. We like Charlotte. We got a lot of good EXP agents in the Charlotte market. And today we get the privilege of finding out what makes you tick and how you run your business. I know you and I had a good conversation on Friday, but for everybody else's background or idea on who you are, if you wouldn't mind, just give us a little 1-minute overview. And who's Kayla?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. So I've been in the real estate industry for about 5 years now. Actually, I got my license July 2015. Didn't start then, but that's when I got it. So I am now officially 5 years licensed. So thank you. Started my career doing mostly expired and for sale by owner calls. Honestly, my for sale by owner experience, I am not the greatest at that. I will admit it. I tend to find they take too much time, so I focus mostly on expireds. And by year one, I was with I was with Keller Williams year 1 through 3, and the first year was Rookie of the Year. Did 29 transactions, and since then I've averaged about between 35 and 40 transactions per year. I have more recently moved on to creating my own team. So I am now a team leader for the True Lane Group, which is based here in Charlotte, and we are now active in the Fayetteville and Asheville areas. So it took me a little while to get there, but growth seems to be snowballing, which is, I think, one of the greatest things about the real estate industry. So it's been a fun run, and I look forward to seeing it grow.
Outstanding. Boy, I'll tell you, that's coming out of the gate with both guns blazing. So 29 deals your first year, some for sale by owners, but sounds like expireds you're like excuse the analogy, love them and leave them. Expireds is you got to be on
It's
it.
true. It's true. And that's the one funny thing. Any of the for sale by owners that I did get, it was ones that I showed up. And when I showed up, they're like, oh my God, you came. Can you sell my house? I'm like, yeah, sure. But I never like to beat around the bush. I don't like to use the line of, oh, I've got lots of buyers, let me come look. I tend to be very straight up with for sale by owners and say, this is the intent that I have when I come. This is what's going to happen when I come. And if you're comfortable with that, let's move forward. I'd at least have to like to have an upfront conversation. So I tend to not like to waste my time just becoming their best friend. I want to make sure that they know why I'm there, which is, I think, why I probably had more success with expireds, because that's what they wanted. They wanted it sold. They know why I'm there, which I love.
They're already frustrated. They've shown a propensity to hire an agent, and for whatever reason, it didn't work out. So I love it.
Exactly.
So, okay, so you are now transitioning into the team lead position. Before we get into that area and what that growth and everything looks like, let's talk about the last couple of years. So we understand year one, Rookie of the Year, which obviously, congratulations. That's always a great accomplishment. But now you're 5 years in, like, we got a lot of agents that were in a transitioning market. I'm sure your market is just as active, and probably not as many expireds in the recent past than there has been, before. So what other things are you doing to bring about business?
Absolutely. So I would say the number one thing anyone could do is follow up. I did see a lot of agents, as the market shifted, especially with COVID. I know everybody, if you haven't heard what that is, it's happening right now. But a lot of people, when that first happened, they literally just went, hands off the wheel, Jesus, take the wheel, I'm going to fail. And what happened was that mindset clicked. of I can't work, nothing's going to work, there's nothing I can do. And that took hold. And I feel like the mindset alone of many people is what kept them from succeeding or caused them to succeed. So what I mean by that is even over the last 4 to 5 years, my main source of business, yes, while it started out with expireds and some for sale by owners, it was the follow-up. So for example, I have a client who I literally have been following up with for 3 years. 3 years, people. I have followed up with this person. And it's usually like a call a month just to say, hey, they know who I am and they're listing with me. Like, it's not even a question of me going to interview anymore. It's you've literally been calling us every month for 3 years. It takes literally like 2 minutes for me to make a phone call, and it's going to lead to a $600,000 transaction or more. Same with some other clients. So it's really about the follow-up and the relationship that you're making with these people, and understanding that while 90% are calling the first time, that drops to almost half for people who are calling back the second time. And there's only less than 1%, write that down, less than 1% agents or sales representatives of any firm, of any company, of any industry are still calling on the 12th call. And guess what? If you flip-flop those percentages, it'll actually give you the buying decisions of most individuals. They're usually not ready to make that buying decision on the first call. They're going to make it between call 8 and 12. So why did you stop calling? And that's with friends, that's with family, that's with a random person that you met at Lowe's, because I meet lots of people at Lowe's. I'm that guy. I grab like a box of light bulbs and I walk aisle to aisle and go, hey, hopefully you can help me, because it's less threatening when you're holding a box of light bulbs or paint. If you're just stalking them, it's just creepy. So at least act like you're trying to buy something, which I always need something from Lowe's, so that's always good. But it's a combination of things, but really what it comes down to is the follow-up. So building those relationships, consistently following up with people, and not always with just the rhetoric of, are you ready to buy now? It's, how's your kids? How's your family? When you're doing those follow-ups, take notes. When they say that their kid is sick and home from school, when you call 2 weeks later, you better damn well be bringing up, how is your child? Are they feeling better? Are you back at work yet? How are things at home? How's your dog? I heard you got a new puppy. Whatever it is, you've got to make that connection. And a lot of people, they're making these calls and they're saying they're not getting results. And the problem is we get into that, well, I made the call, that's all I had to do. So to take it a step deeper, yeah, you may be following up, but you may be not worthy to speak to. I know that sounds mean, but if you're not taking an interest, if you're not taking an interest with who they are, what they're doing, what's going on in their life, there's no point in you calling, because you're just another sales rep. I had a call this morning from a company, I won't give their name, about cutting boards and closing gifts. And I very cordially, as I do every time, thank you for calling. We're not looking to purchase anything at this time. And then was immediately disrespected on the phone in numerous ways in the way that they spoke to me and hung up on me. If you're gonna be that guy, don't bother picking up the phone. Have an interest, take an interest in people's lives. That is the key to success in making those follow-ups.
So people don't care how much you know until they know
how much you care.
Right.
Yep.
And so, I will, first of all, kudos to you. Again, right out of the gate, you come throwing like Mike Tyson uppercuts into this conversation. I love it. So I look at that follow-up conversation, and like this world that we're in now, as far as real estate, you get leads from the various different sources. And I think that what agents, at least my experience of what agents want, is they want this buyer or seller on call one, like tell them everything and be ready to sign, that afternoon. And the reality is that just doesn't happen that often, right? So what I appreciate about what you said is not only the commitment to the follow-up, but paying attention to the details of the conversation and bringing them back up so that they connect with, wow, yeah. And like you said, you got this client you've been calling for 3 years. Who else could they possibly, like, you wore everybody else out.
There's nobody else calling.
Right.
No one else is calling right now. No one knows about their grandchild, or the fact that their daughter's in marketing, or the fact that they just renovated their kitchen, they do everything themselves. Like, I've known these details over time, to the point that I don't even really have to check my notes anymore. I know what's going on in their life when I call, and they know I know, and they can feel that. And what I would bring to everybody's attention as well, we talked a little bit earlier, you had asked me kind of what I've been doing the last several years. My sources of business have changed. Over the last year and a half, I've been predominantly referral, which if you've done enough business and you keep up with enough people, that starts to happen. And while building a team, my focuses have shifted a little bit, giving those newer non-referral leads to my team members, because I'm still getting non-referral leads in as well from various sources, Facebook, other things. But again, what I would want to highlight here, I haven't focused hard on anything except calling people back. So up until this year, and I'm going to make a statement here, if I'm sure everybody has heard the phrase, if you can't manage $1, you can't manage $1 million. And you know, there's this idea of, oh, well, if I was rich, I would be better. It would be easier for me to do these things. But what we noticed, and I'm sure any of the successful agents on this call, calling myself out, that first year that you did really, really well, when you looked at your bank account at the end of the year, I bet there wasn't much there, was it? And it's because we don't know how to manage it. So the reason I bring that up is I'd like to make the statement of, if you don't know how to handle a free lead and you don't know how to optimize and monopolize on a free lead, you will have no idea how to monopolize on a paid lead. So I see a lot of agents coming to the business going, I don't have leads, I don't have business. You know what? I'd like to hand them a phone book. I'm not even kidding. Here's a phone book, start calling. I bet you'll find several leads in here that are going to buy in the next 12 to 16 months. And because they feel they don't have leads, they go pay for leads. Yet they haven't developed the skills of follow-up and consistency with that to manage those leads, and they're wasting their money. Now, I'm not saying that paid leads are a bad thing. What I'm saying is you need to focus on the skills to follow up and monopolize on those leads appropriately before you run out and just pay for leads hoping that it's gold. It's just, at the end of the day, that's what it is. It's not saying that it's bad. It's saying that you need to understand the skills of follow-up and have a system that you stick to in order to make that happen. Because let's face it, even Zillow leads, usually they're not buying today. They're looking because they're going to buy in the next 6 months to 12. So if you're expecting a signed buyer agency that day, you're going to miss out on a lot of money.
So I think you bring up, first of all, a phenomenal point. I love the concept of you can't manage $1, you can't manage $1 million. I hadn't heard that before, but Cody, who he is kind of my partner in crime and putting all this together. We just did a call last week on Money Matters, where we talked about what he has developed. It's called the Little Magic Money Machine, and that's where you're taking money, purposely investing for the long haul, and then the concept of compounding interest and how that grows.
Correct.
So I understand, the context on that, but you've talking about follow-up. So I know there's a bunch of agents sitting there right now listening to this going, okay, well, I'm supposed to follow up, but I just I get overwhelmed. Like, so can you give a simple practical system that somebody can go, oh, okay, this is how she does it. I can do that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So the biggest thing that it starts with, and I'll give you some of the tools that I've used since day one. Again, if you're a newer agent tuning into this, stop spending money. You're going to get calls every day from companies going, and this is their phrase, and you guys are going to laugh too. It'll only take 2 sales for this to pay off. We've all heard that, right? It'll just take 2 sales for this to make sense. Start with the basics. The 2 things that I would highly recommend is Mojo Dialer and a cell phone. I know, I'm really going big here. Mojo Dialer and a cell phone. You're going to need a cell phone regardless. We all have one. So let's just count that as a wash, right? Mojo Dialer, I also get my leads from there. Now, if you want to step up the ante and pay a little bit more and get better leads, I recommend Vulcan 7. Pull those leads into the Mojo Dialer. I'm going to try and keep it super simple for everybody. Mojo, I'm just going to give you an example of this. Mojo with the paid leads cost me $3,600 in my 2nd year of real estate.
For the entire year.
So I was paying for the triple dialer, because you can either do 1 up to 3 dials at a time. I'm not going to get into too much detail how that works. Feel free to check out YouTube on that. It's very simple, but it helps you make dials faster. With the triple dialer and the leads, I had the ability to spend $3,600, but my return was $145,000 in commissions earned. That's only with expireds. Now, if we take into account that I also put my database in there, I put in the random person I met at the grocery store in there, I put in the person that I eavesdropped on their conversation during date night. Yeah, I know. My husband gives me the rolling eyes. He's like, "You're listening to their conversation, aren't you?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going to go talk to them later." All of those people went in there, but the reason I use that system is because as you make that call, while you're making that call, you can set up and schedule the next call. The biggest problem that agents have is that we either don't schedule it, because if it's not on our schedule, it doesn't happen, or we don't know what to say, right? So we don't know when to schedule it, how to schedule it. I usually go this route. If they don't know your name when they pick up the phone, you haven't called them enough at the end of the day, right?
Wow.
So the system, there's no system that is, if you call 5 times, then text twice, then email once, that's the system. It's whatever you can do to be in front of them. Stop hiding behind your email. Make the phone call. No one can, from all that I know, we can see people on phones now. No one can reach through the phone and strangle you. I'm pretty sure that that has not been invented yet. If it has, let me know, because I will go into their kitchen and talk to them. No one has ever gotten hurt by making a phone call. So stop being scared of it. We're human. We're going to screw up. I've screwed up on the phone while I'm talking to somebody, and I throw out the, "Man, I haven't had enough coffee this morning. Let me try that again." And they laugh. So here's what I would recommend. If you are coming into, let's say, I'm going to use 3 different ones: an expired, a for sale by owner, I'm going to do 4, a random person, and somebody you know. So let's start with expired and FSBO, because they're going to be the same. You're going to call them twice on the first day that they come live. You're going to call them the second day. You're going to call them the third day. You're going to call them the 4th day, the 5th day. Do you see a habit here? So in the first 2 weeks, you're going to call those people every single day, and you're going to text them every day. Pretty simple, right? After that, drop it down to calling them twice a week and keep that going. The goal is to get them to pick up the phone, okay? Once you've gotten them on the phone, drop them down to calling them twice a week. So if you're in that first week, you get them the first day, that's awesome. Drop it down to calling and texting twice a week until you either get into their house with a meeting or they tell you to go buzz off. And I will say this from one of my mastermind partners, said it very well. If someone is extremely rude to me and curses me out on the phone, I take them off my list. It's not worth having that negative energy when you can go out and spend your positive energy on someone who's willing to listen to you. And that's okay. You don't have to win all of them. And a matter of fact, you're probably only going to like less than 1% of them. So don't feel bad. So call and text, call and text. And if you do have a cell phone that'll do a video text, I recommend doing a video text as well. Again, it doesn't have to be complicated. "Hey, this is Kayla, Lindsey with a local real estate group here in town. And I want to make sure I was matching a name with a face so you could see who I am. I'm a real person, I promise. I was hoping to set up an appointment with you this week. Here's my availability. Please let me know what works for you. Thanks for taking the time to listen." That was not scary. Now, same thing with the person. Let's say you ran into somebody in Lowe's, okay? My fave. And you said, "Hey, do you want to buy or sell a home?" And they're like, "You know what? We were thinking about it maybe in the next month or 2. Well, in that first day that you met them, send them a quick text message. "Hey, it was great meeting you today. I look forward to keeping in touch. If you have any interest in seeing homes, let me know." The next day, send them an email with a search. "Hey, here's just a few homes that are popping on the market. And the reason you're doing this is because they'll get a little intrigued and you can track where they're going through KV Core. But you're also showing that you do what you say you're going to do." Then follow up with them once every 2 weeks. Because again, they're not right now. But if you're following up with a quick phone call every 2 weeks, "Hey, just checking in, had a few more houses that came on the market. Just wanted to see how you're doing. Hope you're having a great day." If you have a fun fact about them, "Hey, hope that the dog training worked out this week with your pup. I'm sure sit and stay are now second nature. Give me a shout back if you need anything." It's just be cordial. That's all it takes. And for the random person, let's say, or I'm sorry, for the friend or family, be active on social media. Be active in their lives. Call them 4 times a year just to say, hey, shoot them a random text if you're thinking about them. Again, if there is an agent out there that tells you there is a perfect system that they execute daily, They're not that smart. None of us are, okay? Like, they are lying. There are people that fall through the cracks. So I'm saying this from experience. I'm a perfectionist. Stop going for perfection and try and at least hit as many as you can. Because even if you're doing that, even if you're doing the bare minimum and hitting those people consistently, you're going to get success from it. So stop hiding behind the, it's not perfect yet, I don't want to mess it up, so I'm just not going to touch it. Inaction is not the way to go. I speak from experience.
I call that creative avoidance, right?
Ooh, good way of saying that.
I've got this system that I'm still working on, and it makes me feel like I'm being really busy and really productive because I keep trying to figure this thing out, and yet I'm not creating any results. I'm not moving forward. What I appreciate about what you said, first of all, you mentioned in the very beginning mindset, and it's clear to me based on the fact that you're willing to make those phone calls, you're willing to be the guy with the light bulb, the listening, the other conversation. Your mindset is you're open for business opportunities, and you're is it fair to say you're not hard on yourself when things don't work out?
I used to be. I'm a pretty transparent person.
Man, I'm looking at all my notes here. So the Vulcan, you mentioned, because I did hear that you said you have your database in there. Do you have a schedule set up for your database in terms of how many people, how often? You know, is there a daily, weekly goal or anything like that that you try to follow through on?
Very good question. So I'm currently using Mojo. Vulcan, we are just starting. No, you're fine. You're fine.
I've used both. Yeah.
Yep. Vulcan is something we are going to start extending to in order to get better quality expired and FSBO leads, as well as for rent by owner. But with regards to a system for my database, yes, I do have my database in there. No, I'm not that good, to be perfectly honest. So it's something where I do have a system set up and have not implemented. See, I'm not perfect. And this is what I also want to point out. I'm not perfect and I'm still doing well. You don't have to be perfect. But when I think of someone, I'll shoot them a text. I'll shoot them a quick video text. Hey, how's it going? Hit them up on Facebook. I stay pretty active on social media and stay in contact with people and have been getting a lot of referral business that way. But what I will tell you is the system that should be implemented is reaching out to everyone in your database at least 4 times a year. Here's the easiest way to do that. Go through your calendar and assign 2 letters to each month. 2 letters. So let's say this month is A and W. And what's going to happen is anyone with the last name with the letter A or W, you call them. The reason why you go out of order and mix it up, not just A, B, C, and D, not only is because, well, there's, the Z's would be a little bit different than the M's for last name. There's a lot of M last names, right? But it also takes the thought out of it. Because what we do is we scroll and we're like, do I want to talk to them today? I don't know. You know what? Let me call this person. No, I don't know. If the list is already there, and especially if it's in Mojo, because what happens is you just hit play on that list. Like literally, you hit the play button. And when you do that, it starts calling. You can pause it, but there's no clicking through going, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Like you'll see a name pop up. You're like, oh no, I haven't talked to them in forever. And your panic is like, holy crap, what am I going to do? And then they pick up the phone. Hey, Kayla, how's it going? Oh, they're not mad. I literally had a client that I thought hated me. I'm not even kidding you. The wife went nuts. I pulled things out. I don't even know how I did it, to be honest. It was a sale. I'm going to express it because I'm sure everybody's been there. It was a sale that was extremely stressful. It was a for sale by owner. Gentleman was in the military. He was being deployed for 6 months while the wife was moving them and their 6 children to Ohio. And they had a date they had to be out with. We had a terrible buyer who refused to back out, but we knew they weren't going to close either. And we finally got them to terminate. And I had 20 days to not only get them under contract, but closed. We not only was able to get them a buyer, I had the buyer's agent convince the buyer to change who their lender was so we could close quicker. And we were getting it closed. And the wife the whole time just hated me. I mean, like nothing I did was good enough or right? And I called this agent or this client and I'm sitting there on the phone because I see the name pop up. I'm like, oh no, I don't know if I want to have this call. And he goes, hey, how are you? I'm good. How are you? Great. You know what? Honestly, I'm so happy you called. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to lie. I know things ended a little bit rocky. I know you got where you needed to be, but I was a little apprehensive making this call because, I wasn't sure, if whatever, however I said it. And he goes, to be perfectly honest, and he said some choice words. He goes, my wife, blah, 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 blah. So really, don't worry about it. You did a great job. I would recommend you to anybody in Charlotte. And I was like, but if I hadn't had that call, I would have had that resentment in my head that I thought someone thought something that wasn't accurate.
We
So
make
I
up
made
a
the
lot.
call. Yeah, just make the call.
You have to remember that we're catching people at a highly emotional time. I know I've called past clients I haven't talked to in 2 years, and I start off with, I owe you an apology. And I can remember that most of them will apologize back, because I'll say, I owe you an apology. I really enjoyed working with you. And I haven't taken the time to call you. They're like, well, I need to apologize to you because we really appreciate what you did. We didn't call you. I'm like, okay, now we got that behind us, right?
Yep. Or even they'll admit that they were really stressed out and did not treat the situation the way it should have. I've had that too before.
Totally. I love the idea on taking 2 letters and assign it to a month. I have not heard that before. So that is great advice. We're wrapping up. I mean, this is like one of the rapid fire 30 minutes. You are just machine gun the whole time. So first of all, thank you for that. But I want to see if there's anything that you want to wrap up or close with on your end.
I would say the biggest thing to be successful in anything you do is the mindset. If you believe you can, you will. And I had considered possibly even getting out of the business 2 years ago because I was doing well financially, but I felt there was something missing. And if you're feeling that, you got to reconnect with you. You have to put you first. You have spent too much time putting clients first, not you. You've got to go you, your family and support system and friends, then your clients. They are clients. They are not your life. So if they are treating you as such and you are teaching them how to treat you, then you need to reassess, realign, and go back at it. And it is okay to fire a client if they are sucking the life out of you. That is okay. You are making room for 2 to 3 more amazing clients. They're going to treat you with respect. They're going to love what you do and appreciate everything that you bring forward.
Love it. Put you first. That absolutely. That is great. Well, Kayla, we appreciate you taking the time this morning or this afternoon, I guess, where you are, hanging out with us. I know that this is very, very powerful information. We look forward to when we're allowed to, again, seeing each other at a conference and things like that. And by all means, for anybody out there that's looking for a good agent in Charlotte, I think we can say we have definitely identified one. So, Kayla, you accept referrals?
Yes, absolutely. You can find me pretty easily or at Kayla Lindsey Realtor on any social media. And I will add, there was a question here. Would you call a past client who bought and sold elsewhere? And if so, what would the call sound like? You need to apologize because you didn't stay in touch. So be willing to be humble and give that call and say, hey, I apologize that I haven't called in a while. Is there anything I can do to help you or anybody in the future? Just own it.
Boom. Love it. That's the way to finish. All right, Kayla and everybody, thank you for tuning in on our Power 30 call today. Kayla, you rocked it, and look forward to seeing you soon. Cody, anything you want to close out with?
Thanks, Kayla. I hope everybody was listening because, man, you just gave the playbook on how to come out of the gate with this real estate career. It was very good. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
All right. Take care. Bye,
All
everybody.
right. Thanks, you guys.